To start this video, I think it's important I set a point very straight because I know it's very easy for people to use maybe just little clips from a particular video on the internet or just little part of a video for propaganda. People like not seldom, most often just get a little clip, take it out of context, and then use it for malicious reasons. So I think it's very important during the course or before I start this video that I make it clear I'm not making this video to humanize. Of course, it's still human at the end of the day, but to try to downplay the the atrocities committed by this individual by any ways or by any means. Of course, we share the same skin color, but that doesn't necessarily mean we share ideologies and doesn't necessarily mean I support what he has done. I personally believe what he's done is horrific, terrible, and the number of years he's getting for committing the crimes he committed to some extent is actually probably maybe an understatement considering the atrocities, the level, the gravity of what had happened. So, having said that, this video is going to be primarily about this guy, Axel Muganwa, and popularly also known as Rudakubana. So, this video is just basically about this guy, like I said originally. So, for those who don't know what has happened, I think it's very important to give a little bit of context before I go deeply into the video so you don't get lost at any point in time and you probably don't understand what had happened in the first place. So, this guy, 17 at that time, in July 2024, went into Taylor Swift's team party in Southport, England, with a knife, a very, very sharp knife, a knife that is undoubtedly in possession of this guy for no other reason than to commit the worst crime ever, which is the crime of murdering young people. This guy went into this team party and just went on a attacking spree. I don't want to use the word because it's just a very extreme word, and I can't still imagine what this guy had done as of that day. And this resulted in loss of lives, loss of 3 beautiful lives that shouldn't have happened in the first place. And it's horrific, like everyone has said, like everyone has condemned, and I do agree significantly. And I believe he should spend a long, long time in prison. So that's just the background of this whole situation and the context of what has happened. Now, in this video, the main thing we'll be looking at in this video is who exactly is this guy? Could this have been prevented in the first place? Because I see a lot of people talk about the crime. I see a lot of people talk about the significance of what had happened. And of course, as a human being, you normally criticize this. Oh, it's wrong. But are there steps that should have been taken to avoid this from happening? Could this have been prevented in the first place? And that's exactly what we'll be looking at in this video. So, welcome to my channel. And let's just go through this little presentation session as usual on this channel. So, the guy's name, like I said originally, is Axel Muganwa Rudakubana. So, let's look at his early life and the challenges he could have faced. And like I said originally, what could have been done to prevent this from happening in the first place. So basically, this presentation will explore the formative years of Axel Muganwa Rudakubana, focusing on the events and experiences that shaped his life, ultimately leading to his later actions. And this is basically by me. So, according to everyone who has spoken about this guy when the crime happened, after it happened, this guy, and according to details, he was born in 2007. And like I said, made him 17 years old as at last year 2024 when he committed this crime. And his early lives were basically a kind of introverted nature. Most neighbors basically said he doesn't really leave the house that much because he he is a child of Rwandan immigrants. So because of cultural differences that could happen, the way people want to train their children and stuff like that, he basically had a kind of isolating background. But it's very important to also state that he is from a Christian family. He is from a Christian family. This is contrary to what people like Andrew Tate, who came on the internet originally, said about this guy. That he's Muslim, he's a Muslim immigrant, which has since then been debunked, of course. So he was born to Rwandan immigrants, lived a very solo, quiet, introverted life as a young child. So not so many things were known about the family than the fact that they were Rwandan immigrants. They weren't like some of the most popular people in their city, or maybe dad has a criminal record or anything like that. Just normal people that wouldn't really raise your eyebrows. Maybe you see them or really give you any kind of special impression. You understand what I mean? So little is basically known, but reports suggest that very early there could be signs that this child might be suffering from some kind of lack of social integration, not trying to be friends with people, and of course not really trying to connect with peers. I mean, in school, not trying to be friends with people, which of course no one could say. Most things that would be outside would be basically speculations, but no one could ever say what his full childhood looks like. Most things people say on the internet is basically speculations that no one does have a concrete proof that this is exactly what it is. His introverted nature, although also compounded these difficulties, leading to him basically feeling isolation and a sense of being different. A lot of people feel different. I still don't think it is any form of red flag. I myself, talking here, I've always felt different. Even as an adult, we all feel different to some extent, and I feel this is what shows the specialness in our personality. What makes us special, what makes us different. The way you think is not the same another person think. But without a doubt, we still have people who feel totally different. They just feel they don't agree with most things society thinks, most things society talks about. But in a child, we wouldn't really see that as a red flag, because this is a period where most people are trying to form their personality. It is even a period where children don't even agree with their own parents, where they think, oh, I don't agree with most things this guy say. But then they grow into adulthood, they become 30, and they are exactly like the same parent they didn't agree with in the first place. So the word difference can be used in different contexts. But then let's look into more about where I think a red flag could have started showing up in this young kid. So oftentimes in different schools where this guy had been to, he's actually complained about one major thing, and it is a specific reason why I felt making this video is very important, and it is bullying. And it specifically actually mentioned racial bullying. I felt it was important to address this issue for just one reason. A week ago, a friend of mine sent a picture to a group where a lot of us were basically on that group. And it was a gift that was given to his daughter. And the gift was wrapped nicely, but there was a letter that came with this gift. And I would just not mention the name of the daughter, of course, but then I would just replace the name. Let's say the name is Michael. Of course, not the name of a daughter. So let's say the name is Christiana, basically. So the letter says, "Ugly Christiana, you are very ugly. That was what the letter says. And to give a little bit of context, these are 10-year-olds. So this letter basically came from a student, a classmate who is also about 10 years old, sending this letter to the daughter of this guy. So that's basically the level of bullying sometimes that people, especially, I don't want to use the word ethnic minority because a lot of people experience that. I mean, even whites, blacks, everyone experience bullying. But it is the level of bullying I wouldn't think would happen in the modern age. I mean, with good parenting and good awareness as regards the possible effects of bullying, which we'll be discussing in a minute. I wouldn't think that would still happen. I would think there would be significant improvement in that level where bullying is basically a thing of the past. Because I personally feel a child who is ready to bully is a learned behavior, learned somewhere, learned by the child from someone. Could be the dad, could be the mom, but it is not. Personally just don't feel it's an isolated situation. So in the case of Axel, is said to have repeatedly complained of bullying, so much so he wanted to kill someone. This guy in 2019 called the child line. I'm not sure, was it in 2019 or 2023? Called the child line and asked, what do I do when I feel like unaliving someone? And they were like, what do you mean? Yes, that is exactly how I feel. I feel like unaliving this person because this person has repeatedly bullied me. And I can't take it anymore. Then he told them that he's been taking a knife to school multiple times in hopes that he can attack this particular person. I mean, this is a serious thing coming from a child of that age. And it is something that should have been looked into severely. And it is something that should have been. I mean, I don't believe serial killers become serial killers because they were born serial killers. Of course, there are theories about how the frontal lobe of the brain can lead to maybe changing the frontal lobe of the brain can lead to personality change, affecting their disorder, the way they can control, especially for psychopaths, and resulting in severe lack of inhibition. When they feel like beating up someone, they will do that because they lack the ability to disinhibit. The same thing that tells us, okay, you might feel like beating up this person, but it's not right, doesn't exist in these same people. So, although we've got people like that, but most of the time, people who end up becoming killers, people who end up becoming murderers, people who end up becoming horrific people, most of these behaviors are progressive. It must have been from a word said to someone that should have needed more attention, that someone should have spoken about, that someone should have said, okay, this needs a lot of attention. If not, something bad would happen someday. And not just one of those things where they think it's a childlike statement, as so many people would say. So, like I said, this guy, his primary and secondary school were marked by significant bullying. And people often target him for being different. I mean, there was a video circulating all over the internet recently where an autistic child was being beaten by teachers in that school for, of course, being different, because they think it's difficult, because they think is giving them so much problem. And if not for the CCTV there, what could have happened to that child down the line if that had happened continuously and nothing was done about it? I mean, the level of things that happen in the society where people don't talk about enough. So, let's keep talking about things about this particular guy and not just go off what we're talking about originally. So, According to a lot of reports, he decided to find a solace in arts, where he tends to join musical groups, and he basically found joy in music. He joined a local theater group where he even appeared in a very, very, very important video for the BBC about children, basically. So the question is, how did this young, good-looking boy on this video became the Southport criminal? From a child, let's just give a little bit of recap. From a child who was the young little beautiful baby in the hospital ward, to the little kid in the secondary school, where of course you start seeing some little changes due to the bullying, to someone who probably started using drugs or started getting more aggressive, having this level of hatred towards people. Of course, some text of terrorism was found in his possession, which is related to Al Qaeda, which just shows hatred towards not just the bullier or the person bullying him, but to the whole society at large. Talking about, you couldn't protect me, you couldn't do anything about it. They are all responsible, and one day I will let them know I can fight back. Like I said originally, none of this can be excused. This is a monstrous act. This is something that could never be excused. Losing the lives of three innocent, beautiful souls who could have grown up to become some of the most wonderful human beings because someone lost their mind. On the other end, the question is, how can the society ensure this doesn't happen again? Do people really learn from situations like this, and how much impact it can have in the twinkle of an eye? Or are people really letting the politicians use it for political agenda, causing riots, and making the whole situation about a political situation, about immigration, about the fact that, oh, if the parents were never allowed to come into this country, this wouldn't have happened? Or without actually seeing the situation where we've got a lot of people who immigrated into this country and has become some of the best people in the country, some of the best athletes, the best politicians, the people who are trying, working 247 to care for people's parents in the care home, for people who are trying their best to make music where everyone enjoy. I mean, television presenters, and a whole lot of people who are immigrants. Or are we all just trying to, I mean, everyone, the British people, see behind this and see how this could be prevented in the first place, and how to move forward and let this never happen by ensuring people who are meant to do their job, who are meant to listen, who are meant to see why something is dangerous, who are meant to see a pattern. A child who has had multiple knife offenses, or a child who has complained multiple times of bullying, needs to be looked closely at. I'm going to end the video here. I believe a lot of people would have understood what exactly I'm trying to put out with this video. The basic, most important thing I want you to learn from this video is that the effects of bullying, nobody knows. And mental health sometimes can be, if it's damaged, it can be more dangerous than physical health. Because sometimes people who lose their mental health would ensure they damage multiple people, whereas for physical health, it's just one person, isn't it? Thank you very much for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you've got any other opinion, you can always leave a comment down in the comment section below. Thank you very much once again. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.